Today's story is one that'll hit deep because it's about love, heartbreak, struggle, and an untimely goodbye that fans of 90 Day Fiancé never saw coming. Ben Rathbun, the former TLC reality star who captured headlines with his roller coaster romance with Mahogany Roca, has passed away at the age of 55. And yes, it's real. It's confirmed. The man who brought both hope and controversy to 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days has lost his life to stage 4 stomach cancer. But behind the headlines and the chaos of reality TV was a man in pain. A man fighting for love. 4 second chances. For a future he might have known he'd never fully reach. So how did a divorced father of 4 who risked everything to chase a romance across continents end up quietly passing away at home in Indiana, far from the cameras and chaos? What was really going on during those final months? This is the untold story of Ben Rathbun. From controversial beginnings to his quiet final chapter. And believe me when I say, you'll want to stay with me for every second of this one. Let's rewind. Ben Rathbun was introduced to the world in 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 Days, Season 5, a divorced father of 4, aged 52, with a past full of both religious devotion and complicated choices. He wasn't your typical reality show heartthrob. No, Ben was thoughtful, intense, and maybe a little too trusting. He met Mahogany Roca, a much younger woman from Peru, online. The internet lit up with suspicion. Was this a real relationship or just another catfish saga waiting to unfold? Fans were skeptical. Even Ben's own friends were warning him. Why? Because Mahogany, during their courtship, refused to even FaceTime him. Yeah, no video calls, no real proof, just messages, promises, and hope. But Ben, despite the red flags, got on a plane to Peru. And guess what? Mahogany was real. Their meeting shocked fans, but even more surprising was what followed: a romance, a wedding, and a long, winding road that included career struggles, legal trouble, and eventually, life-threatening illness. Fast forward to February 2024. Ben and Mahogany were married, yes, married in a quiet civil ceremony that Ben himself called brilliant. He said he couldn't believe how beautiful it was. But behind that beauty? Strain. On an episode of 90 Day Diaries, Ben opened up not about fairy tales or perfect love, but about hardship. We're just going through a really difficult transition, he said. I've got about 6 months without a really good job, and bills have been piling up. They were planning a religious ceremony next, but trust issues lingered. Financial pressure mounted, and life got heavy. Ben didn't sugarcoat it. He was candid, vulnerable, trying to hold on to love while juggling survival. All the while, he was fighting an enemy most fans never even knew about: stage 4 stomach cancer. According to reports, Ben had been quietly battling the illness since late 2024. That's right, while fans were catching up on reruns and wondering what came next for the couple, Ben was fighting for his life. On Monday, May 19th, Ben passed away at his home in Greencastle, Indiana. He was just 55. There was no farewell episode, no reality show closure, no drama-filled goodbye, just silence and heartbreak. His illness hadn't been widely publicized. Most fans had no idea. But now, in the aftermath, it all makes sense: the quiet, the absence, the retreat from the spotlight. Ben's death comes as a gut punch, because even though he was a reality TV figure, his story was deeply, painfully real. And cancer? It doesn't care about storylines. Stage 4 stomach cancer is one of the most aggressive forms of cancer. By the time it's diagnosed, options are limited. The battle is brutal, and Ben fought it in silence. Maybe he wanted to protect his kids. Maybe he wanted privacy. Maybe he just wanted peace. Whatever his reasons, he left this world far too soon. Let's not pretend his journey was smooth before the diagnosis. Back in March 2022, Ben was arrested. The reason? Missing a court appearance linked to a probation violation. That stemmed from a 2020 incident where he was caught operating while under the influence and driving with a suspended license. By 2021, he was sentenced to 18 months probation. But then in 2022 he moved states, missed a court notice, and a bench warrant was issued. Ben didn't hide. He drove 14 hours to turn himself in and spent a night in jail. In a statement later, he took full responsibility, saying, "This was my fault. I needed to make sure I was getting all notices. It wasn't a scandal, it was a stumble. One of many. A very human mistake in a very complicated life." So now that he's gone, how should we remember Ben? As the guy who got catfished and kept going? As the dad trying to rebuild a life from the ground up? As the man who dared to believe in love even when everyone doubted him? Maybe all of the above. He wasn't perfect. He wasn't polished. But he was honest, vulnerable, and in the end someone who faced cancer with quiet courage. He married the woman the internet told him didn't exist. He kept loving through instability. He kept trying, even when his body was failing. That's not just reality TV, that's reality. So today, whether you were a fan of 90 Day Fiancé or not, whether you believed in Ben and Mahogany or thought it was all too good to be true, one thing is undeniable: Ben's story was raw, messy, complicated, and ultimately human. And sometimes, reality TV gives us a glimpse into something realer than we expected: a flawed man who kept searching for connection, purpose, and redemption until his very last breath. Rest in peace, Ben Rathbun. You made us question. You made us feel. And now, you've left behind a story we won't forget. Love you, gang.